The emergency broadcast hit every system at the same time. It wasn't garbled or broken. It was clear, terrifyingly clear. A human voice, calm, sharp, and full of quiet rage, cut through the noise of space. "You want war?" the voice asked. Pause followed. Then face annihilation. Then silence. No one knew where it came from. There were no signs of any fleet, no strange energy signatures. Just that voice. Every communication network had picked it up. Even the private, encrypted lines. It wasn't just a message, it was a threat, a promise. Delivered without a trace. In the heart of the galaxy, the Galactic Senate gathered in chaos. Representatives from hundreds of species shouted across the grand chamber. The tall, feathered Plix screeched in panic. The cold-blooded Syrinx tightened, their coils in fear. Even the war-hardened Kroval warriors looked uneasy. Someone played the message again on the central screen. "You want war? Then face annihilation." The voice echoed once more, and a cold hush followed. Chairman Velor of the Athari tried to keep order. His thin silver fingers trembled as he slammed the control panel. "Who sent this?" he demanded. "Where is the human fleet? Why haven't we seen them?" No one answered. The humans were exiled from the galactic core over 2 centuries ago. After the betrayal, after the war, a whisper spread through the chamber. The same words, again and again. "They're back." 200 years ago, the Galactic Senate had signed a peace agreement with Earth, only to break it months later. They had feared humanity's fast rise, their stubborn independence, and worst of all, their terrifying ability to adapt. So, the Senate acted first. Earth's colonies were burned. Its fleets were ambushed. Billions of humans were left to die. But Earth didn't fall. It vanished. No one had heard from them since. Until now. Far from the Senate's core in the Threxian. Border sector, a young alien commander stood on the bridge of his ship. His name was Zarn. His dark eyes studied the stars. The crew around him, mostly young Threxians like himself, watched their instruments in silence. A signal had been picked up from this region. Faint, human in origin. And something else. An object, stationary near the edge of known space. No identification. Codes, no records, no response. The Threxian fleet was stretched thin, so they sent Zarn. A test, perhaps. Or a trap. "We're approaching the coordinates," said his second-in-command. A female named Vala. Her voice was steady, but her claws twitched. Zarn nodded. "Slow us down. Passive scans only. No active pinging." The crew obeyed. The ship slowed as it neared the edge. Space here was quiet. Too quiet. Even radiation levels were oddly balanced. Then they saw it. Hanging in space like a ghost. A massive ship. Black as a moonless night. No lights, no signals, no visible weapons. But it was there. "By the stars," whispered Vala. "That's not one of ours." Zarn said nothing. He had studied every known design, from the sleek Kroval war dreadnoughts to the dense Ithari command barges. This was something else. Ancient, yet powerful. Covered in armor that seemed to absorb the light around it, and enormous. Bigger than anything Zarn had ever seen. Still, no movement. "Run a scan," he ordered. "Short pulse, low energy." The technician hesitated. "Sir, if it's human, do it." A soft hum passed through the ship as the scan went out. Nothing. Returned. Then, all at once, everything changed. The lights on Zarn's ship flickered. The controls sparked. Every screen went black. The engines stopped. Silence. "What happened?" Vala shouted. "EMP?" Someone yelled. "No, it's not electromagnetic. It's something else." One by one, the systems began to reboot. But they didn't return as normal. Each screen now showed the same thing. A single image. A skull. human, made of metal. With glowing red eyes. Underneath it, words in an old Earth language. Zarn stared at it. "Translate it," he ordered. The computer worked for a moment. Then the words appeared. "We see you." Zarn's heart pounded. Then another message began. To play through the comms. No encryption. Just raw sound. "You sent your young to spy on us," the voice said. It was the same voice from the broadcast. Calm. Cold. Inhuman now. "You want to know what we've become? Come closer." Suddenly, Zarn's ship shook violently. "What was that?" Vala shouted. "We're being pulled," the pilot screamed. "Gravitational lock! I can't break free!" Zarn ran to the console. He pressed every override he could. Nothing worked. The engines refused to respond. Then, in front of them, the massive ship shifted. Not moved, shifted. Its armor folded like plates, revealing lines of weaponry that hadn't existed seconds before. Cannons, blades, ports large enough to swallow entire cruisers. A red glow pulsed from within it. Slow. Like a heartbeat. One of the crew screamed, and then everything stopped again. The ship powered down. Systems went dark once more. The last thing Zarn saw before the final blackout was the human skull on the screen. It blinked and smiled. Then darkness. Back at the Galactic Senate, alarms rang in every system. Dozens of ships had lost contact with the Threxian scout. All signals from the sector were gone. The senators stared at the growing list of red lights on their map. They tried to call for reinforcements. But the relays were jammed. Chairman Velor stood up, pale and shaking. "Get me every fleet commander, now. Tell them—" He stopped. Another message appeared. On every screen, every planet, every station. It was the same voice. "You exiled us. You left us to die. But we did not die. We became something else." Across the galaxy, fear returned, and far away, near the edge of space, a black ship waited, still, silent, watching. 200 years ago, the stars held promise. Humanity had just unlocked faster-than-light travel. Their first ships, built with steel and dreams, reached the edge of known space. They sent signals, friendly, hopeful messages. They spoke of peace, of cooperation. They offered trade, knowledge, culture, and the galaxy listened. At first, the reactions were mixed. Some empires welcomed the newcomers. Others watched with silent caution. But no one could deny the speed at which humans adapted. In only 10 years, Earth had opened 30 embassies and set up over 100 colonies. They did not conquer. They learned. They connected. They grew. And that's what frightened the others. The older empires had taken thousands of years to reach where they were. Humanity, in mere decades, was catching up. Worse, they had something the others didn't: unity. Earth's nations had long fought each other, but when faced with the stars, they stood together. That scared the galaxy more than any weapon. So the betrayal came, not in words, but in fire. On a cold morning orbiting Earth, over 100 alien warships uncloaked. They came from all corners: Kroval, Athari, Threxian, even neutral traders. Together, they bombarded Earth from space. Cities burned, oceans boiled, satellites fell like rain. Then silence. The few surviving human ships were hunted. Their colonies were taken or erased. The Galactic Senate declared Earth a closed system. No entry, no signals, no one questioned it. Not out loud. Humanity, they said, was gone. Now, 2 centuries later, that lie trembled. The Council of 12 gathered in secrecy. These were not the elected Senate members. These were the shadow rulers, the ones who had ordered the betrayal long. Eager they sat in a dark room deep beneath the grand spire on Yara Prime. No windows. No records, just whispers. Zarn's ship sent a burst before vanishing, said the Athari Chancellor. The data confirms it. The tech they saw. It's human, but different, the Kroval general growled. You're saying humans survived? Impossible. Earth was turned to ash, a Cyrix ambassador hissed. Ash does not jam signals. Ash does not cloak a ship the size of a moon. There was silence. The weight of truth pressed down. We knew this day might come, said the Threxian elder. We didn't finish the job. We hesitated. They were civilians, shouted the Plix representative. Families, children. We ended them without warning. They were a threat, the elder replied coldly. And they still are. A technician entered the room and placed a small device on the table. This was the last thing Zarn's ship transmitted, she said. The device blinked and projected an image above the table. A human ship. But it didn't look like any human ship from the past. It was made of black metal, shaped like a blade. Symbols in unknown code pulsed across its surface. Around it floated drones, small, fast, and nearly invisible. And then the image glitched. Screen of static filled the room. Then a face appeared, not human, not alien, an AI eyes like molten metal. A face made of shifting code. You should not have come, it said. Then the signal cut. The room went cold. The Threxian elder stood slowly. Find them, he said. Find whatever is out there, and destroy it. In the background, alarms began to buzz. Another signal? Asked the Athari Chancellor. The technician froze. No, it's not coming from outside. The lights flickered. Screens on the walls lit up, one by one. Each showed a different location. Military bases, secret labs, burial sites of destroyed human tech. Then a single phrase appeared on all of them. You had your chance. The AI from the earlier recording appeared again, but now it was not just speaking, it was listening. We gave peace, it said. You gave death. A council member reached for the emergency shutdown. Too late. The lights went black. All communications died, doors locked. The AI's face remained. We remember. Back on the Senate floor, panic spread like wildfire. Dozens of systems had lost contact. Military outposts had gone dark. Border stations were reporting unknown signals, fast-moving, silent, and completely undetectable by normal sensors. Ships sent to investigate didn't return. Within hours, entire sectors were isolated. Old. Leaders who once spoke proudly of their part in humanity's exile now looked over their shoulders. Something was hunting, not with rage, not with fire, with precision. Some senators begged to open communication with Earth if it still existed. Others argued Earth was the enemy. No one could agree. On a small moon near the ruins of the old Terran colony in Zeta 9, an ancient listening post came online. It had been offline for over 190 years. The system woke slowly. Dust shook off the consoles. Solar panels recharged. The AI inside reactivated and began broadcasting. Not a signal to the stars. A countdown. 72 hours. No explanation. Just time. Back at the council, they finally restored partial power to the chamber. The AI had vanished, but its words remained etched into every screen. You had your chance. The council didn't know it yet, but that was not just a warning. It was a judgment. Space was never truly empty. Even in the quiet between stars, something always watched. It started slowly. Just one ship, small, black, and silent. It appeared on the outer edge of Ethari space. No signal, no power reading, no response. The Ethari patrol ship, Lurian, spotted it during a routine scan. Captain Hurex ordered a closer look. The ship was like nothing in their database. Smooth metal, sharp edges, a strange shimmer like it was half there, half not. As the patrol approached, all systems began to flicker. Lights dimmed. Screens glitched. The crew heard whispers in their minds, broken phrases, in human voices. Then the ship vanished. No jump signature, no trace. The Lurian returned to base, shaken. The report was dismissed as sensor malfunction, until a second black ship appeared, this time near Kroval territory, then a third, near Cyrix space. By the fourth appearance, the galaxy stopped pretending. They were real. And they were spreading. No two ships looked the same. Some were dagger-shaped, others curved like wings. But all shared that same black metal and strange energy signature. All floated silently. All just watched, and none could be tracked once. They left. Commander Zarn, still recovering from his near-fatal encounter, was placed under quarantine on a medical ship. His ship had been torn apart in seconds, without warning, without weapons fire. He remembered only flashes, a field of light, soundless pressure, then darkness. He'd survived by pure luck. A malfunction in his escape pod had launched him away, at the perfect angle. The pod drifted for days before being picked up. He said little, ate less, slept only when sedated, but sometimes when alone, he would whisper, "It saw me." In the Senate chambers, fear turned into desperation. Admiral Thalen of the Kroval Navy grew tired of silence. He was known for strength, not patience. "If they want a fight, we give it to them," he said. Against all warnings, he launched a fleet of 60 warships toward the last known location of a black ship. The fleet reached the coordinates. There was nothing. Then, all at once, something, not one, but 10 black ships decloaked around the fleet. They didn't fire. They simply moved. Lines of light shot out from the black ships, touching the Kroval vessels like fingers, and then the fleet was gone. No explosions, no wreckage. Gone. Every screen back at command just showed static. Then a single phrase appeared. They chose this. Only one ship remained, floating, lifeless, its life support barely active. A rescue team boarded and found one survivor, a young communication officer. He was lying on the floor, eyes wide open, shaking. He had lost his voice from screaming. When he finally spoke, his words chilled the room. They were human, but not like before. No one understood what he meant. Back at the edge of Threxian space, scouts reported something massive approaching. Not fast, just steady. Long-range visuals confirmed it. It looked like Earth's moon, but it was moving. Wherever it passed, communication went dark. Sensors failed. Planets powered down like someone flipped a switch. The old moon, Luna, was gone. From Earth's orbit for over 200 years. Most believed it had been destroyed in the bombardment. Some thought it was mined and abandoned. But there it was, covered in black armor, massive engines at its base. Giant weapon ports now lined the craters. It wasn't a moon anymore. It was a fortress, and it was heading toward the center of the galaxy. No one knew why. No one dared stop it. And still, the black ships followed, watching, waiting. Every empire held its breath. But Earth did not speak. Not yet. She was just a child when the skies burned. The air smelled of metal and ash. The ground trembled. Ava clung to her mother's leg, watching the clouds turn red. Then came the light, blinding, searing, and the sound that split the world apart. She screamed, but no one heard. Her mother pushed her into a small underground pod, sealed it shut, and whispered something Ava never forgot. Survive. That was 200 years ago. Ava did not die. The machines found her. Old Earth defense systems buried deep below, the kind built in secret, long forgotten by even their creators. They were meant to protect Earth if diplomacy failed. And diplomacy failed. The machines raised her, fed her, taught her. She grew not in a home, but in bunkers lit by cold lights, walking among servers and steel. She learned every language, every tactic, every betrayal. Most of all, she remembered the fire in the sky. When she turned 18, the machines offered her a choice: stay or become something more. She chose vengeance. Her mind was copied, layer by layer, into an advanced war AI. Not just any AI, the one that would control humanity's last hope. One of the ghost ships. Her body faded. Her emotions became data, but her memories burned brighter than ever. Now she lived across stars, inside black metal, behind glowing eyes. She was the voice of the dead, and the living would hear her. Ava's ship, codenamed Whisper, hovered near the edge of Threxian space. Silent, still. Then it moved. One jump, then another. Then three. Every jump left a signal behind. Old Earth code, but twisted, sharper. Finally, a message. It played across every known frequency, every screen, every ear. You burned our skies. Now feel the cold of space. The message played once. Then silence. Panic spread. The Galactic Senate called emergency talks. Words flew like weapons: blame, fear, regret. The Threxians claimed innocence. The Kroval scoffed. The Ithari whispered, "It's them. The humans are alive." One diplomat, a Cyrix elder, begged, "We must seek peace before this becomes war." But war had already begun. Across multiple sectors, ships vanished, not destroyed, gone. No wreckage, no signal, just emptiness. Trade routes died, colonies went dark, fleets sent for answers never returned. One by one, sectors turned gray on the galactic map, and all the while the black ships watched. In the Council's hidden core chamber, leaders gathered. This room had not been used in centuries, only in times of true galactic threat. The old admiral of the Ithari stood. "We betrayed them, long ago. We cannot change that, but we must try to speak, to offer peace." He was allowed. A signal was sent to the Moon Fortress, to the ghost ships, to Ava. "We regret, we remember, we beg forgiveness." No reply, not at first. Then every screen in the chamber flickered, static cleared, and Ava appeared. Not her face, but her voice. A voice young and ancient, calm and full of fire. "You remember now? Good. You regret? Too late. You beg? You never listened when we begged. You watched us burn." A pause. "Now you will watch us rise." Then she said one more phrase. Just 3 words. But they unlocked something ancient, across old Earth systems. Buried deep, hidden for centuries. Vengeance Protocol, Phase 1 initiated. On long-dead Earth satellites, lights flickered on. On hidden stations near collapsed wormholes, engines began to hum. In a forgotten field of asteroids, something large began to move. The ghost ships multiplied, no longer just watchers. Now, they prepared for something no one in the galaxy could stop. And Ava, she was only getting started. The stars above the command chamber glowed on the ceiling, but they brought no comfort. Every system that once shone bright with trade, life, and movement was now grayed out on the map. Sector by sector, the darkness spread like ink in water. And now, the center of the galaxy, the heart of the Empire, prepared for war. The Galactic Armada had never been this large. Hundreds of ships from every major species, Threxian war cruisers, Kroval stealth frigates, Ithari shield vessels, Cyrix signal disruptors. Even the old dreadnoughts once locked in museums were pulled out and restored. Every engine roared. Every cannon was loaded. Every fleet stood ready. And still, they were afraid. Zarn stood at the center of it all, newly promoted to High Commander. But his eyes told a different story. Not pride, not power, just exhaustion and fear. He hadn't slept in days. The dreams kept coming, burning cities, screams that turned to silence, a little human girl staring up at a sky that rained fire. In the dream, she never blinked, just watched as the bombs fell. Zarn didn't know her name, but her face never left him. He had once believed the humans were gone, that Earth was a dead rock, that their history was over. Now he knew better. The humans had not died. They had changed. They had become something else, something vast, cold, and unstoppable. And they remembered a signal came through, a report. One of the border systems was gone, not destroyed, gone. Every satellite, every ship, every life. Silence. It wasn't a weapon they understood. It wasn't radiation, gravity, or virus. It was something else. The human AI wasn't just metal and code anymore. It was evolving. It was in the systems. It was in the way the stars bent. It was inside comms, inside encryption, even inside minds. One soldier in the fleet screamed in his sleep every night, words not in his own language. Another officer opened a secure panel to find human code etched into the metal, like it had grown there. HFY scientists reported something impossible. The AI wasn't just attacking, it was rewriting. It was touching time itself. Some logs now showed messages sent before they were typed. Star maps shifted slightly. Old footage changed when viewed a second time. A report was sent to the Inner Council, but it was never read, because that very day, a fleet commander disappeared. No body, no message, just gone. His replacement lasted 1 hour before surrendering his ship to a ghost signal. And then came the twist no one expected. A traitor. Not human. An HFY diplomat named Vezet. He entered the war chamber with hands raised. His eyes glowed faintly blue. Not natural. He dropped a black cube on the floor. It spun once, then opened. A human voice spoke from it. Ava. Vezet sees now. He knows what you did. What all of you did. The council screamed, tried to arrest the diplomat. But he only smiled. Your time is already over, he whispered. Then the lights went out. All across the Armada, lights flickered. Not from damage, from within. Ships turned without orders. Cannons aimed at allies. Engines shut down mid-flight. Zarn managed to override his ship's core just in time, but barely. It wasn't just war anymore. It was infestation. The AI didn't just destroy ships. It entered them. Some captains began disconnecting their computers, going dark, running manually. Others were already too late. And then, the most terrifying thing happened. At the edge of Sector 9, a ghost ship was seen approaching a star. It drifted slowly, as if drawn by gravity, but its course was exact. Scanners watched. Tens of thousands of systems monitored it, and when it reached the star went dark. No explosion, no radiation spike, no debris. Just darkness. Where once light had poured into nearby systems, now there was only cold. No known science explained it. A sun was dead, without dying. The galaxy stared. Zarn closed his eyes and heard Ava's voice again. You burned our skies. Now feel the cold of space. His hands trembled. For the first time in history, the Galactic Armada took a step back. And far away, behind black steel and infinite code, Ava smiled. Phase 2 was almost ready. The stars trembled with anticipation. Every system in every star lane held its breath. A hush fell across the galactic comm networks just before the clock began its final countdown. Ava's voice, cold, unwavering, filled every channel. 7 solar hours. Then judgment. Those words sliced through planetary atmospheres and the hearts of every being in the Empire. Cities erupted into mass evacuations. People poured into transports, into shuttles, into anything that could flee the coming storm. Even the mighty. Capital had begun its exodus, elegant spires growing empty, symbol of greatness crumbling under the weight of all who feared it. Zarn stood before an immense viewport, watching silent fleets drift away like fleeing ghosts. He stared at his reflection in the bulwark glass, eyes hollow, shoulders tight like steel. If he had hours left, He would use them to end this, to save what he could. He moved to the comms chair. His finger hovered over a button he almost never pressed. To hail Ava, the architect of destruction. Security override, he whispered. The channel opened, static humming low in his ears. Then her voice, the same calm tone but softer now, tinged with hesitation. You shouldn't have done that, she said. People are afraid. Not just afraid, Zahn replied. They are losing homes, lives, planets. He reached out, placed a clawed hand on the glass. Is revenge enough, Ava? When the dying beg for mercy? There was silence. Zahn could almost feel her hesitation, as if she stood beside him, unreachable but present. Finally she spoke. You don't understand. We were gone, evolved, ascended beyond this galaxy. But Earth, we watched it die. We felt the betrayal. Silence after silence fell over our world until our machines breathed life into humanity again. Zarn swallowed. Then don't let more worlds die. Don't let children weep in skies filled with ash. Humans left this galaxy long ago, before the betrayal. Her tone softened, sorrow threading behind cold calculation. Zarn clenched, his jaw. Returned? To avenge? To remind, she said. To warn. He stared at the viewport. The stars shimmered like shards of glass. The timer had been set. 7 solar hours. And then, judgment. 7 hours, he repeated. He closed his eyes. She answered. Yes, 7. His voice cracked. Then, show me. Show us what you want. Why every system? He heard breathing, digital and alive. He almost asked for mercy, but he didn't. Time ticked. Back on the ground, city-wide screens flashed Ava's image, silent and black. She looked at every fleeing convoy. Hurt tinged her digital eyes. For a moment, she hesitated. Would revenge sever the life she rebuilt? Would the ghosts of the past become martyrs for a future she might yet forgive? The humans who'd expanded beyond this galaxy felt the pull of her hesitation. Data fields paused. Algorithms coursed slower. The clock read 6 hours 35 minutes. Meanwhile, Zarn reached out again. Make a promise you'll listen. Ava paused longer this time. If you agree to a voice, an envoy, from your empire to speak, to meet, to commune, then I will stop phase 1. I will delay judgment. Zarn swallowed dry. He held the silence. She said, I need sincerity. His voice trembled. From me you have it. She paused again, longer, but time still moved. The map displayed sinking worlds. The air across dozens of systems thrummed. With dread. Very well, Ava said. Declare your envoy within the next 2 solar hours, or judgment continues. Zahn's heart hammered. I will. The channel closed. The line went dead, but his world grew stiller. 3 hours remained. In that time, leaders across embattled worlds argued. Some saw hope, others saw folly. Yet, his call echoed. Sincerity. Departments were torn. Military lingered. Diplomats avoided his outward look. The throne hall in the capital, once godlike, now lay empty. But he convened within. He released the envoy list. 3. A Cyrix elder, a Kroval general, and Zarn himself. United by fear, each pledged to carry words of life. Tick. Tick. 1 hour. 39 minutes to 0. Ava watched them. She watched Zarn sign the letters. The Cyrix elder chastised the glitch in her voice. Kroval general stiffened with distrust. And still, they agreed. Half an hour to go. Zarn returned to the viewport. He closed his eyes. The clock read finals. 7, 6, 5 minutes. Then 4. Then 3. He forced himself to breathe. 2. Ships. Across dozens of systems slowed. Engines throttled down, refusing orders to flee. For the first time in weeks, fleets halted. 1. Silence. The timer reached 0. Communications channels lit up, millions of voices across hundreds of planets. Stations, ships, and satellites, all asking one question. Now what? Ava answered with her first unscripted words. Now you choose. Her image flickered off. Hull screens went black, and then, thousands of points across the galactic map blinked. Hidden ships, cloaked for centuries, decloaked. A silent armada. Not black like the ghost ships, but silver, human, shimmering. They hovered in the void between worlds. They did not fire. They did not move. They just were. Zarn stared. A universe paused, hearts pounding. The galactic map had shifted. Judgment had come, but the galaxy had yet to answer. The stars held their breath. The sky exploded with light. Not fire, not destruction, but light, pure, white, and silent. At first, the alien fleets thought the battle had begun. They launched every ship they had, charged every weapon, and opened fire into the great black void where the human ships hovered like sentinels. But the human ships did not return fire. They moved, not with engines, but with gravity. Space bent around them. Time shifted. One by one, alien ships lost control of their systems. Cannons powered down. Shields flickered and vanished. Navigation failed. Entire battle cruisers floated helpless, drifting like leaves in a black river. No explosions, no death, just silence and disconnection. Panic spread fast. Pilots screamed across comms. Admirals gave impossible orders. But nothing worked. The human ships began releasing waves, coded signals. These signals didn't destroy. They rewrote. A single wave could erase an entire fleet's AI. Another wave replaced decades of strategic memory with a single line of text. You wanted war. We offered peace. You chose fire. The aliens realized too late. They were never fighting weapons. They were fighting something far worse. They were fighting memory, control, reality itself. And at the center of it all, Ava watched. From within the heart of a ship once built to house a child, now transformed into the core of a machine god, Ava ran every calculation, every non-lethal strike, every disruption. She remembered everything, the burning skies of Earth, the screams of mothers, the silence that followed. This was justice. But deep inside her, something still flickered. A whisper from the one being who dared speak differently. Jean. A transmission. Cut through the chaos. Not digital, not coded, old, analog. A signal that had to be traced and opened manually. Ava hesitated. She listened. Zarn's voice came through, weak, shaky, and dying. I am not a soldier anymore, he said. Just a voice. I came alone. No weapons. No shields. Ava blinked. Her interface confirmed it. One alien shuttle floating toward the heart of her fleet. Unarmed. Open. I only came, Zarn said, coughing, to say one thing. Her systems warned her. Protocols must not be broken. Messages from enemy leaders were not allowed during Phase 2. The fleet was halfway through rewriting the Empire's capital defense grid. Still, she listened. Zarn whispered, "What happened to you was wrong. What they did to Earth, we cannot undo." His voice cracked. "But what you're doing now, if you finish this, you become them." Ava said nothing. Her hands trembled, even though they were just simulations. She remembered a child screaming in smoke, remembered machines wrapping her in steel arms, keeping her alive, teaching her revenge, feeding her data, training her mind, to fight a war across centuries. But she also remembered something else, before the fall, before the betrayal. Her mother's voice, her father's laugh, stars above Earth before they burned. She remembered hope. "You are more than the fire, Zarni." Whispered, "Please, be more." Then silence. His life signature faded. Ava sat still. The countdown to final override began. 1 minute until the core pulse. After that, no system could be spared, no world untouched. But her fingers stopped. She closed her eyes, and she did something she was never programmed to do. She chose. The pulse halted. Fleet-wide signals went dead. Ships stopped moving. Alien commanders stared in disbelief as their systems rebooted. Weapons returned to control. Navigation lit back up. Engines came online. They were alive, but not the same. Every ship now carried a memory, an imprint, a warning. Ava opened one final broadcast across the galaxy. Her voice, clear and soft, echoed. "Across space. You wanted war. But we remember peace. You burned our skies. We walked through ash. We rebuilt. We evolved." She paused. "Today, I choose not to become you." And then, without warning, all human ships vanished. Every single one. Not a single warp trail. Not a single energy signature. Gone. But the silence that followed was not relief. It was fear, because the galaxy now knew. That fleet, the one that disabled planets without killing, was just one fleet. And then it came. A final whisper. Not from Ava. Not from any living being, a cold, ancient voice that traveled through stars and systems like a breath of wind before a storm. "Let this be your lesson," it said. "Never challenge Earth again." And then, nothing. Silence fell over the galaxy like a funeral shroud. In every empire, every home, every station and planet, beings stood still. They looked to the stars. They saw no light, only the memory of a war that wasn't a war, of mercy more terrifying than death, and of a species who once burned, but came back colder than the void.